All right, so today we're diving deep into DeepSeek.
Oh, yeah.
This Chinese AI startup that's making waves.
Big waves.
And honestly stirring up a ton of controversy.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at this report called Exploring the Enterprise Impact of a Potential DeepSeek Ban.
Right.
Because DeepSeek is attracting some serious investment from big companies.
Yeah.
But what happens if those bans actually hit?
That's the question.
So we're going to break down all the risks, the opportunities, and basically what you need to know
Absolutely.
to navigate this AI landscape.
It really is fascinating.
Yeah.
This is like geopolitics and bleeding-edge tech.
Oh, totally.
All colliding right in front of us.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't been, like, glued to the AI news cycle, can you give us a quick rundown of, like, what DeepSeek is and why it's...
And that's turning heads.
Makes sense.
Especially in the enterprise world.
So it's kind of like the classic underdog story?
Yeah, you could say that.
Except this underdog might be ruffling some feathers. I mean, the report highlights how governments, even tech giants, like Microsoft and OpenAI, are actually investigating DeepSeek.
They are.
What's the main concern?
Well, the big question mark is copyright infringement.
Oh.
Do they use data they shouldn't have?
To train their models?
To train their models.
Got it.
That's what everyone's trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And the answer to that question will determine how bad the bans could be.
And that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the scope of a potential ban is still up in the air.
Huge question mark.
Will it be limited to just the consumer app? Or could it extend to enterprise use?
That's the big one.
That's a huge question mark for companies.
Absolutely.
Who are thinking about maybe, jumping on the DeepSeek bandwagon.
It's creating a lot of uncertainty.
Totally.
For CIOs.
Yeah.
Imagine having to revamp your whole AI strategy.
Oh, gosh.
Because the tech you're using is suddenly off limits.
Yeah.
It'd be a nightmare.
A logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that companies would be a little hesitant.
Right.
But here's the thing that I find really fascinating.
Okay.
Despite all this uncertainty, enterprises are still pouring money into DeepSeek.
Yeah, they are.
So what makes it so irresistible?
Well,
even with that risk of a ban?
A few things.
Okay.
First, DeepSeek is incredibly cost-effective.
Okay.
We're talking potential savings of almost 95%.
Yeah.
Compared to OpenAI.
95%.
95%.
That's incredible.
It's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Especially if you're watching your bottom line.
Totally. That's like finding a hidden treasure chest of savings.
Exactly.
No wonder businesses are intrigued.
And on top of that, DeepSeek's models are open source.
Okay.
This is a big deal for enterprises who want more control.
Okay.
They can customize, tweak,
right.
really make the technology their own.
So it's like having the blueprints
to
build your own AI engine instead of being handed a pre-assembled one.
Right.
So DeepSeek is cheaper, offers more control.
Yes.
But does it actually deliver?
Good question.
Does the performance live up to the hype?
Well, more research is needed.
Of course.
But initial findings are promising.
Okay.
For instance, Doozer.ai found that DeepSeek's R1 model achieved comparable results to some industry leaders.
Wow.
For data extraction.
Interesting.
And at a fraction of the cost.
So we've got cost effectiveness, open source flexibility, and potentially comparable performance.
It's looking good so far.
So it's like this dream package, except for that pesky ban issue.
Right.
The report outlines 4 main ways enterprises are currently using DeepSeek.
Right.
Should we unpack those?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with the DeepSeek app. Okay.
It's convenient.
Sure.
But it also seems like the riskiest option.
Probably.
If a ban comes into play.
Yeah. The app is definitely the most vulnerable.
Okay.
Plus, there's the data logging.
Oh, right.
Their terms of service state that any data you put into the app could be logged.
Oh, wow.
And stored on servers in China.
Okay.
That's a red flag for a lot of organizations.
Yeah, especially those handling sensitive information.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what about the DeepSeek API?
Okay.
This seems like a more direct route, and it's super cost effective.
It is.
What's the catch?
Well, the API does offer direct access and cost savings.
Yeah.
But experts are urging caution.
Okay.
There's a high probability that the API would be directly impacted by a ban.
Oh, so it's a gamble.
Pretty much.
You could get those amazing benefits,
yeah,
but you also risk being left high and dry.
Exactly.
Okay, what about cloud service providers?
All right.
It seems like a lot of the big names...
NVIDIA, AWS, Azure, Snowflake.
Right.
They're integrating DeepSeek into their platforms.
They are.
That sounds like a safer bet.
It might seem that way on the surface.
Yeah.
Integrating DeepSeek into these platforms does make it easier for enterprises to use the technology.
But it's not a foolproof solution.
Unfortunately not.
No.
The report warns that even these cloud platforms could be caught in the crossfire.
Oh, wow.
If the U.S. government or European regulators decide to crack down, these cloud providers might have to comply.
Oh, jeez.
And remove DeepSeek from their offerings.
So that would be a huge blow for companies relying on those integrations.
Absolutely.
It's like building your house on what you thought was solid ground.
Right.
Only to find out it's built on a sinkhole.
Exactly. You got to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
And not put all your eggs in one basket.
Especially when dealing with something as volatile as this.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the final option, local hosting.
This seems like the most secure route.
In terms of data control, yeah.
Especially if you're concerned about data control and potential bans.
It is the most secure.
But it can't be that simple, right?
Well, it's not without its challenges.
So what are the biggest hurdles companies face when considering this?
Resources.
Okay.
You need the infrastructure, the expertise, and the budget.
To handle it.
Especially with larger models.
So it's a trade-off.
It is.
You gain control and security.
Yep.
But you pay a premium in terms of cost and complexity.
Exactly.
So CIOs really have to weigh the pros and cons.
They do.
Before diving into local hosting.
Absolutely.
For some companies, the peace of mind might be worth it.
It could be.
For others, the hurdles might be too high.
Right.
It sounds like there's no easy answer.
Not really.
With all these deployment options and risks to consider, it's no wonder CIOs are feeling the pressure.
A lot of pressure.
What are the experts recommending?
Well, they're advocating for balance. Enthusiasm and caution. The report quotes Paul Chetta, founder of Doozer AI.
Right.
He suggests that CIOs should definitely evaluate DeepSeek.
Okay.
But they should be wary of relying on it exclusively, at least for now.
For critical applications.
Yeah. He emphasizes the need for DeepSeek to be more battle-tested.
I like that analogy, battle-tested.
It's a good one.
It's like you wouldn't send a brand new untested fighter jet into a combat zone.
Exactly.
So you'd want to put it through trials.
Of course.
And it's the same with technology.
Especially AI.
Right.
Especially one that has the potential impact of AI.
Yeah.
You need to make sure it can handle the pressure.
Absolutely.
Before you entrust it with critical tasks.
So does that mean companies should just hold back entirely?
Not necessarily.
Until DeepSeek has more real-world experience?
There's value in experimentation and early adoption.
Okay.
For companies that can handle it.
Right.
But it's about finding the right balance.
Okay.
Don't bet the farm on DeepSeek just yet.
Got it.
But explore its potential.
Yeah.
Test it out. See how it fits into your AI strategy.
So it's like dipping your toes in the water before diving in head first.
Right.
So we've talked about the potential benefits, the deployment options.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Okay.
There are some serious concerns surrounding DeepSeek.
There are.
What are the biggest red flags?
One of the biggest is security.
Okay.
Researchers have found that DeepSeek's R1 model is more susceptible to certain attacks
than its Western counterparts.
Yes.
Can you break that down for our listeners?
Sure.
What kind of attacks are we talking about?
Think of something called a prompt injection attack.
Okay.
It's essentially a way for someone to sneak in a malicious command.
Okay.
And trick the AI into doing something harmful.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a hack using that.
Right.
To manipulate DeepSeek into revealing sensitive information.
Oh, gosh.
Or disrupting critical processes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vulnerability we're talking about.
That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It is.
It's like leaving a back door wide open.
Exactly.
In your security system.
You need robust security protocols.
Okay.
And a deep understanding of these vulnerabilities.
Before integrating any AI system, really.
Absolutely.
Into critical operations.
Yeah.
So security is one major concern.
Yes.
What else should companies be wary of?
Content restriction.
Okay.
DeepSeek's R1 model has been observed to align with Chinese government regulations.
Interesting.
Which could lead to filtering.
That clashes with Western values and policies.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
It's a reminder that technology isn't created in a vacuum.
Oh, totally.
That cultural and political context can have a big impact.
Huge impact.
On how it functions.
Yeah.
And what it can do.
So companies need to be mindful.
They do.
When considering DeepSeek.
Yeah.
What might seem like a minor difference in content filtering
could have major implications.
Absolutely.
Depending on the industry and the type of data.
Okay, so let's recap for our listeners.
Okay.
DeepSeek offers this huge potential with its cost-effectiveness, open-source nature, and impressive capabilities.
Yeah.
But it also comes with a lot of baggage.
It does.
Uncertainty of band security concerns.
Right.
The potential for content restriction.
Yeah.
So what's the bottom line?
Well,
should companies steer clear?
the report doesn't offer a simple answer.
Okay.
And that's intentional.
Okay.
This is a complex issue with no easy solutions.
Right.
The key takeaway is that informed decision-making is crucial. CIOs need to weigh the benefits against the risks and do their due diligence.
To understand the implications.
Exactly.
It's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
You have to move forward with caution.
Right.
But keep your eye on the prize.
Absolutely.
And I think there's another layer to this conversation.
I think so too.
That goes beyond businesses.
We've been focused on the practicalities for businesses.
Yeah.
But the bigger picture is fascinating.
You're right. We've been talking about DeepSeek's impact on enterprises.
Uh-huh.
But this situation has much broader implications.
It does. This isn't just about, who gets the biggest contracts or the most advanced algorithms.
Right.
It's about who sets the standards.
Totally.
Who controls the technology and ultimately who benefits from its development.
It makes you wonder, what are the stakes here?
Yeah.
I mean, are we talking about like economic dominance, national security?
You could be.
Or is it even bigger than that?
Yeah. It's hard to predict the future.
Sure.
But it's clear that AI is going to be a defining force in the 21st century.
Absolutely.
And the choices we make today.
Yeah.
About which technologies we embrace.
Yeah.
How we regulate them.
Right.
Will have lasting consequences.
So where does that leave our listeners who maybe aren't CIOs or tech experts, but are still deeply invested in the future of AI? What can they take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway is to be informed and engaged citizens.
Okay.
This isn't just a tech industry issue.
Right.
It affects all of us.
Yeah.
We need to understand the potential benefits and risks of AI.
Absolutely.
And hold our leaders accountable.
For making responsible decisions.
For making responsible decisions about its development.
It's easy to feel powerless sometimes. In the face of such rapid technological advancement.
Absolutely.
But we can't just sit back and let the governments or tech giants dictate the future of AI.
We need to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, we need to be part of the conversation.
And that conversation needs to be nuanced and informed. We need to move beyond these simple narratives of like good AI versus bad AI.
Yeah. Like, it's so much more than that.
And really grapple with the ethical, social, political dimensions of this tech.
This report's been a fantastic springboard for this discussion. But it's just that a starting point.
Yeah.
We need to keep asking these tough questions.
Absolutely.
Learning, pushing for a future where AI is used ethically and for the benefit of humanity.
For the benefit of humanity, not just for profit.
Not just for profit or power.
Or power.
Exactly.
A future where the benefits are shared.
Yes.
Equitably.
That's the key.
And not just concentrated in the hands of a few.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this.
Okay.
What role do you want to play in shaping the future of AI?
It's a big question.
It is.
One worth reflecting on.
And one that we'll continue to explore.
For sure.
On future deep dives.
It really is a question that I think we all need to think about.
So much to think about.
And this report kind of hints at these larger geopolitical implications.
Totally.
I mean, we've already seen pushback against Chinese tech companies.
In other sectors.
In other sectors.
Yeah.
And AI could be the next
excellent.
round.
Yeah, it feels very much like that.
Yeah.
It's almost inevitable.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, what are the stakes?
Yeah.
Are we talking economic dominance? Are we talking national security?
It could be all of those things.
Or something even bigger.
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But AI is going to be a defining force in this century.
Absolutely.
And the choices we make about which technologies we embrace, how we regulate them.
It's going to have a huge impact.
Will have long-lasting consequences.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's been a fascinating conversation about DeepSeek.
Really interesting.
The potential, the risks, the implications.
It's a lot to unpack.
It really is. So we want to thank our expert.
Thanks for having me.
For sharing their insights.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, we'll continue to explore this and other AI developments on future Deep Dives.
Stay tuned.